Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are about to embark on a seriously terrifying journey into some incredibly dark, centuries-old folklore. We're going to be looking at a story absolutely steeped in ancient magic, past lives, and relentless supernatural entities that have basically held an entire village hostage for generations. So let's unravel this mystery together and see how these layers of history and horror are so intricately woven.
Okay, let's dive right into this. How in the world do you break a 400-year-old curse that explicitly demands a king's corpse? I mean, it sounds like an impossible puzzle, right? But this is the central, chilling mystery facing a group of friends, Meghna, Ishita, and Anuj. They find themselves stuck in the cursed village of Birampur, desperately trying to figure out how to satisfy this ancient, deadly demand before it consumes them all.
Section 1. The Hidden History. Let's get some context.
To really understand the present danger, our modern-day heroes realize the local legends of Birampur have a massive missing piece. So they seek out Professor Naveen, who is this expert in bizarre historical anomalies, and he actually uncovers the lost fate of the region's ancient rulers. Imagine this. The tragedy begins in 1600 AD, when King Vishwajit nobly gives up his entire kingdom of Birampur just to save his people. Fast forward just a few months later, and a man with the bearing of a king is found working as a common laborer in the neighboring region of Janakpuri. He's sick, he's broken, and he spends his nights crying out for his daughter, Princess Meghalaya. It's just a deeply sad irony, right? A king dying in exile as a commoner. When his time of death finally comes, he makes one last plea. But because of regional tensions, his body is never returned. Instead, his coffin is just hidden away in a dark, overgrown jungle cave in Janakpuri.
This brings us to a really pivotal moment. The king's dying wish was simple yet profound. Do not cremate me. Send my corpse back to the village of Birampur. And you know what? That failure to fulfill a dying monarch's final wish is the exact catalyst for everything that follows. That single broken promise triggers 4 centuries of unimaginable horror for the village. It really goes to show how in these ancient myths, and honestly, maybe even in our own lives, an unfulfilled debt or unresolved generational trauma always demands to be paid.
Section 2. The Reincarnation Reveal. Things are about to get wild. And this brilliantly illustrates the big twist. So the king is dead, his body is lost, and the village is heavily cursed. The friends now know where the king's body is, but there is a massive catch. Local legends say the curse can only be lifted if the princess herself returns to Birampur. But she's been dead for 400 years. Well, the reason the monsters have suddenly become so aggressively active right now, it's because the modern city girl who just wanted to help her friends, Meghna, is actually the reincarnated 17th century royal, Princess Meghalaya. No way, right? The crazy thing is, the clues were there all along. Ever since arriving in the village, Meghna has been plagued by these wildly vivid dreams. But they weren't just nightmares, they were memories. Her dreams unlocked the secrets of her past life, detailing the exact layout of the ancient royal palace and, most importantly, the specific conditions required to break the curse. Her past life memories are literally the ultimate key to banishing this supernatural threat once and for all. But what exactly are they trying to banish? Meet the Nashir Molo. These are terrifying, relentless, supernatural entities that roam Birampur at night. And they aren't just mindless beasts. They have a very specific, unbreakable magical contract. They will only leave the village when the true princess returns to the soil of Birampur and personally offers them the corpse of King Vishwajit. So those are the stakes. They're high, terrifying, and absolutely non-negotiable.
Section 3. Journey to the Cave.
Knowing exactly what they have to do, Meghna, Anuj, Ishita, and the village Mukhya pack up their torches and head deep into that dark, dangerous jungle of Janakpuri. They're looking for a 400-year-old hidden coffin. But as you might guess, the cave does not give up its secrets easily. The literal second Meghna steps inside, unnatural earthquakes start violently shaking the floor, and that's immediately followed by a massive swarm of black spiders rushing at them out of the darkness. As they push deeper, past scattered animal skeletons, into the pitch black, they finally find it. But it isn't silent. Loud, heavy thumping noises are echoing from the inside. Something or someone is hitting the wood from within. Talk about a nightmare.
Despite the absolute terror of that moment, they actually managed to drag the coffin all the way back to the village square. There, right in front of the stunned villagers, Meghna, driven by the echoes of her past life, reaches out and opens it. Inside lies King Vishwajit's skeleton.
It's a deeply emotional, surreal moment. The bones are still draped in royal jewelry and a precious locket. Meghna is literally looking at the remains of her past life father. Seeing this absolutely cements her resolve. She is going to end this curse tonight.
So, the crucial point is, Section 4, defeating the Nishir Molo.
Okay, they've got the body, and they have the princess. But the execution of this plan, it's incredibly dangerous. The sun is setting, and those entities are coming. The local Tantric Maharaj sets these immediate, terrifying lockdown rules for the villagers if they want to survive the night. Stay indoors at all costs. Close and tightly lock every single window and door. And pray. Just pray for deliverance. The atmosphere of dread in that village is suffocating as everyone boards themselves up, leaving only Meghna and her friends out in the open, vulnerable square.
Then, the clock strikes exactly 9 p.m. The dead silence of the village is instantly shattered as the heavy, terrifying footsteps of the Nishir Molo begin to echo through the empty streets. They have arrived.
The monsters zero right in on Meghna, who is standing by the village well. Suddenly, the ancient coffin begins to emit this blinding golden light, and a powerful magical force violently drags Meghna toward the Nishir Molo. It's absolute chaos. Seeing her being pulled to her doom, Anus risks his own life, throwing himself straight into the fray to try and save her from the sheer, overwhelming power of these entities.
Just as she is about to be taken, Meghna taps into the full, raw authority of her past life. She stands her ground and screams into the darkness. I am Princess Meghalaya. We have brought the corpse of King Vishwajit as promised. It's an incredibly powerful, desperate declaration. And it works. The monsters freeze completely in their tracks.
Acknowledging the return of the true princess and her offering, the Nishir Molo work their dark magic one last time. A beam of light transfers the king's skeleton from its resting place directly into the glowing coffin carried by the entities. With their 400-year contract officially fulfilled, they turn around, their heavy footsteps slowly fading as they march away to the graveyard forever. The curse is broken. The village is finally safe. After 400 long years, it just goes to show how a simple, finally fulfilled promise can actually restore peace.
The next morning is just filled with immense relief and gratitude. Meghna and Ishita board a bus back to their normal, modern city lives. But here's a detail you can't miss. Before she leaves, Meghna secretly takes something with her. A sample of the Mrityunjay Amrit, a legendary nectar of immortality found within the cursed village. She smiles at her friends and promises a quick return. I think it's safe to say her connection to this supernatural world is definitely not over.
Now, what's really interesting about this is Section 5, Damayanti Awakens.
You probably thought the story was over, right? The curse is broken, everyone goes home happy. Well, not quite. Back at the Janakpuri jungle, where they originally found the king's coffin, the weather suddenly turns completely apocalyptic. Violent, stormy winds tear through the trees, pitch-black clouds completely block out the sun, and repeated, violent lightning strikes hammer down, hitting the exact cursed cave they had just left.
Deep inside that freshly struck cave, in a corner obscured by shadows, a second, completely hidden coffin suddenly bursts open. From inside, a terrifying figure named Damayanti emerges. She steps out with glowing red eyes, razor-sharp nails, and this deeply sinister smile on her face.
She looks out into the darkness of the cave and whispers this chilling realization. We have awakened. We are free again. By satisfying the Nishir Molo and breaking the 400-year curse, our heroes unknowingly deactivated the very magic that was keeping Damayanti locked away. Breaking one curse actually had a horrifying side effect. Which leaves us staring at this final, spine-chilling question. Who exactly is Damayanti, and what new, unimaginable terror has breaking the curse just unleashed upon the world? It's a pretty terrifying reminder that sometimes solving one problem simply unearths a much older, darker consequence. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope it gave you as many goosebumps as it gave me.